So now that we looked at this basic construction of the demand curve, let's look what happens when things change. So when we talk about economics, especially with demand and supply, we say that other things equal. So the first question is, what happens if the price of a good changes? Well, keep in mind that demand is a relationship between the price of the good and the quantity demanded. And so if the price of the good changes, all that it's going to do is cause you to move to a different point on the demand. So if we go back here, let's say that the price was, let's insert, let's just say that the price was here, right around 50. All right. And so when the price is 50, you have a quantity demanded, let's just say that it's 40 here. If price changes, let's say it goes up to, let's say it's 100 here. Well, all that's going to do is cause you to move to a different point on that demand. So instead of being at this point, you're moving to this point because you already have that relationship. The demand curve already gives that to you. But if something else happens that affects demand, the entire curve is going to shift. So what do I mean by that? So when you talk about demand, the demand curve is saying basically that the only thing that affects how many units of a good that you demand is the price of the good. Well, there's other things that happen. So for example, fitness. Fitness has been very big in recent years especially. And so you're seeing a lot more gyms popping up. The demand for gyms has been going up. Now at the same time, gyms or fitness centers, the prices have also been going up. So you might be saying, well, wait a second. The gyms are going, there's more gyms out there. People want to go to the gym more, but the price is going up. So the quantity demand is higher, but the price is higher. It doesn't really make sense. Now we'll talk about that interaction in a little bit, but the idea is that price is not the only thing that affects how much you demand of a good. There can be other factors involved. So again, so if we have our demand curve here, D0. If the price of the good changes, it's just going to move you to a different point on that demand. Because price, quantity demanded, demand gives that relationship. Now, if something happens that increases your demand, it's going to cause it to shift to the right. Now, some people talk about it going up or down. I prefer left or right. And so, for example, let me insert line here. So the reason why I say it goes up, so let's say we have this point right here. If demand goes up, it's saying that at each price, there are more units that are demanded. So higher demand at any given price is more units demanded. So when demand goes up, instead of being at this, whatever this given price is, instead of this many units demanded, we have this many units demanded. We have a higher, the quantity demand is going to be higher for a given price. If demand goes down, it's going to shift to the left. At any given price, there are fewer units that are demanded. So again, just to recap that, if the price of a good changes, it's just going to cause to move to a different point on the demand. If, however, something else happens that affects demand and causes demand to go up, it's going to shift to the right. If something has caused demand to go down, it's going to shift to the left. So what would do that? And what would cause this to happen? Now, when I have these positive and negative signs here, this is the relationship basically to what I'm saying. So what other than the price of a good would cause it to shift or would cause demand to change? So the first one we have here, I'm going to write notes over here. The first one is price of related goods. So let's say that we are looking at the market for hamburgers or cheeseburgers, whatever it is. So when it comes to price of related goods, these are goods that are related to the goods that you're looking at the demand for. So, and this is not availability necessarily, but it's actual prices. So for example, there's two types of related goods. There are substitutes and there are complements. With substitutes, these are goods that you enjoy instead of your good. So again, we're looking at hamburgers here. So if the price of hot dogs, for example, all right, hot dogs and hamburgers tend to be substitutes. You either have a hot dog or a hamburger. So if the price of a hot dog increases, the quantity demanded of a hot dog is going to decrease. So price of a hot dog goes up. The quantity, so people are going to buy less hot dogs. Now, because of that, if they're buying less hot dogs, they're now going to buy more hamburgers. They either eat hamburgers or hot dogs, and so if they're buying less hot dogs, they're buying more hamburgers. And so the demand for hamburgers is going to increase. Okay. So again, that positive relationship might seem a little bit confusing, but if the price of the hot dogs goes up, you're going to buy less hamburgers, and so you're going to buy, if the price of a hot dog goes up, you're going to buy less hot dogs, and so you're going to buy more hamburgers. Price of hot dogs goes up, higher demand for hamburgers. That positive relationship. Now, complements are goods that you enjoy with your good. And so with complements, the idea is that you buy them together. And so things you may buy with hamburgers would be French fries. And so if you buy more French fries, you buy more hamburgers, you buy less French fries, you buy less hamburgers. And it goes both ways. So for example, if the price of French fries goes up, you're going to buy less French fries. If you buy less French fries, you're going to buy fewer hot hamburgers. And so when the price of French fries goes up, the end result is that you buy fewer hamburgers. So there's a negative relationship there. So when the price of a complement goes up, the demand for that, the good you're looking at, goes down. So that's one thing. Expected future prices. Right? So if you expect the price of hot dogs to go up, all right, you're looking at hamburgers, maybe you're going to buy more hot dogs now since the price is going to go up. And so you may buy less hamburgers now. So if the price of another good goes up, you may, or expect it to go up, you may alter your behavior. Now, the expected future prices also deals with the current good. And so, for example, gasoline. When gasoline is expected to go up, people tend to go buy more now. And if the price is expected to go down, they may hold off. So the demand may go down now. So expected future prices can be positive or negative, depending on which way it's going and if it's other good and so forth. Income. In addition to how much money you have, or in addition to the price of the good, how much income you have is going to affect how much you buy of the good. So there's two types of goods when it comes to income. Normal good and inferior goods. A normal good has a positive relationship, which basically says that as you get more money, as your income goes up, you demand more of the good. Steak dinners is a good example of this. The higher your income, the more you demand steak dinners. Right? Income higher, so demand is higher. Inferior goods are the opposite of that. Inferior goods say that as your income goes up, you demand less of the good. So an example for this is ramen noodles. For the most part, people buy ramen noodles because they really can't afford anything else. Their income's low, and so it's kind of a college cheap way to buy food. As your income goes up, though, you say, all right, you know what? Enough of this stuff. I'm not going to buy ramen noodles anymore. And so as income goes up, you demand less ramen noodles. Income higher, demand lower, inferior good. A couple other things that cause demand to shift would be expected future income. And so if you expect to make more or less money later, you may adjust your spending now. So for example, if you expect to get a raise next month, you may start to spend a little bit more now in anticipation of that. Or if you expect to be getting laid off, you may cut back on your spending now so that you can afford, or because you expect to have that drop later. Now, the exact effect there is going to depend on normal versus inferior good. Another factor that causes demand to shift is population. Now, if you remember, when we took our individual demand, we said that to get the market demand, you sum up all the individual demand curves. And so if the population increases, that means that there is a larger group of people that can buy the goods. And so there's more people to add to that demand. And so, for example, if you live in a city and you're looking at the demand for hospitals, all right, in a city with 500,000 people, and so there's a certain amount of demand for hospitals with that population. If, however, the population of that city doubles from 500,000 to 1 million, clearly there's going to be more of a need for hospitals because there's more people who need health care. And so when the population goes up, there's more people to add in, and so the demand goes up as well. And vice versa happens if the population goes down. Now, the final thing that affects demand other than the price, and this is the biggest one, is preferences or tastes. Simply put, over time, people want different things. And when they want different things, their preferences change. Okay? Or when the preferences change, they want different things. So I talk about the idea of gym. There's more gyms that are popping up. People want to go to the gym more. And prices are going up at the same time. So you're not seeing that inverse relationship. What happens is people are more health conscious nowadays, and we're in a period now where going to the gym is a bigger thing, and people's preferences have changed. And so what has happened is that people are now going to the gym more, higher demand. Another example is cigarettes on the other side. So 50, 60 years ago, demand for cigarettes was very, very high. But then studies came out that talked about the danger of them because people became aware of those dangers. They said, you know what, I'm going to step away. And so because of that, their preferences changed, and so it went down. Technology and clothing, that's another great example of preferences, where demand can go up or down depending on what the current fads are, what people want, and so forth. So again, just to summarize that, when it comes to demand, if price changes, you move to different points on the demand. If something else other than the price of the good changes, that affects demand, if demand increases, it's going to shift to the right. If it decreases, it's going to shift to the left. And what is going to cause those shifts? Price of related goods. You have complements and substitutes, expected future prices, income, depending on if it's a normal or an inferior good, expected future income, population, because the demand is for an entire market. So if the market gets bigger, there should be more people demanding, and preferences. All right, people's preferences a lot of times determine how much they demand of a good.